Star trail images like this make it look like you need thousands of dollars worth of fancy gear to be able to get these types of images. But in fact, I took this image with my $600 smart telescope. This is the Seestar S30 Pro. It's one of the newest smart telescopes out on the market. And as far as I'm aware, it's also one of the only smart telescopes that can do star trail imaging, which is what you saw a sample of at the beginning. Follow along on this video and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to shoot really amazing star trail images right from your own backyard, be sure to continue watching. And if you like to see more content like this, then please like and subscribe. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the screen recording where I'm going to show you exactly how I build this image once I get the telescope set up outside. Setting the Sea Star up in Star Trails mode is super easy. Basically, you're just going to select this Milky Way mode right here. Now, once you are in this Milky Way mode, you are able to just move the telescope around. It does not need to be leveled or mounted or perfectly stationary, but you can just with your hand move it around, or you can also use this joystick button, and the joystick button will allow you to make more subtle and small and short adjustments to the movements of the telescope so that you can get the framing set up exactly the way that you want it. Now, most of the time with star trail images, you usually want to be centered on Polaris, or maybe not centered, but you want Polaris, the North Star, to be in your image. That way, when it's in your image, you can make sure that you see all the stars rotating around it. If it's not in your image and you're not able to have that rotation, the image can look like a little bit more of a jumbled mess. So I definitely recommend finding Polaris. Now, finding Polaris, if you don't already know where it is super easy with an app that I like called Sky Guide. I know there's others out there that are also really great, but this is the app that I like to use. All you have to do is type in it whatever object you're looking for, but in this case, I type Polaris. And then after that, I hit this compass button, and it basically guides me with this arrow on the screen for how exactly to get to Polaris. Another hack that you can use to find Polaris is by simply typing Polaris into the Seestar app and instructing it to go to Polaris. But a word of caution on this method, once it goes to Polaris, it is going to stay targeted on Polaris and it's going to keep it centered, and you're not going to see the star trails. It's going to take all of the images and line them up and stack them on top of each other so that all the stars stay in the same position. So what you can do is go into the app, hit go to Polaris. Once it has found, focused, and centered on Polaris, stop the go to mode. But now that the telescope will stay in that same position, it continues pointing in that exact same spot. So now you have Polaris perfectly centered in the field of view of the telescope. Exit out of the go to mode and then go back into the Milky Way mode, and then go back to that star trails imaging and then begin collecting star trails, and your Polaris image will be perfectly centered. But you don't have to do it that way. You can just find Polaris on your own, and that allows you to move the telescope around and manually adjust it so that you can frame trees or other objects in the image if you want. But both options work. Okay, now you get to start watching the time lapse of these star trails start to form as the telescope does its thing. While you enjoy this awesome time lapse, I want to talk to you about a few things. The first was the setup of the telescope. It does not need to be level or perfectly mounted or anything for this. I literally rested it on the block wall, as you can see in this picture, because that's where I felt I could get the best angle. You could lay it down on its side as long as you have the lens pointing at the right part of the sky. This is a very easy setup. The only part that I kind of regret about the way I set this image up is the fact that I put Polaris slightly behind the tree branch. I wish it would have been in the picture, so I would have changed that ever so slightly and moved that over just a little bit. But I do also think it's important to have a tree branch or some sort of visual in the image like that, a cactus or a palm tree, or some sort of landscape, a rock, a mountain. If it's just the stars, I think the image lacks depth. You might be wondering, why do all the stars make trails like this, and why does it look like everything is rotating around the North Star? Well, basically, it's just that the Earth is tilted on its axis, and if you were to kind of take a straight line from our North Pole, line of sight wise, it would take you straight to the North Star. So that's kind of why everything looks like it's rotating around Polaris. It's not, obviously, it's just the Earth that is spinning counterclockwise if you were to look down on it from the North Pole. It was around this time that I figured out that I could actually hit the adjust button up in the upper right-hand corner while it continues to stack. Of course, you can do this during stacks of planetary nebulas and galaxies and things as well, but I just didn't think of it while I was doing it in Star Trails mode. But you are actually able to go into this adjust button and tweak the contrast, brightness, and saturation levels. So I was able to do that, get a darker image that didn't look quite so washed out, and I felt made the stars look a little bit more dramatic and less light pollution in the image, and helped add some additional detail that wasn't there before. So again, I added that adjustment, and then I let it continue to stack. You might be wondering what some of these ugly lines in the image are that certainly don't look like star trails. Those were caused by airplanes. Unfortunately, I did take this from the city, and there are airplanes flying around all the time. Actually, I thought we were quite lucky to only get some airplane activity right on the edges and not throughout this entire image. So I was actually kind of happy about that. Because of the way that these stack, they don't yet have the ability to automatically remove airline trails when they show up in the image. And even if they did, by removing those frames, it would cause gaps in the star trails themselves. So your best bet, if you really want to avoid those, is get to an area where you're not going to have any airplane traffic. Or in post processing, you can edit them out if you want to get and do some fancy editing. But the big downside to that, again, is you will end up with some little gaps in your star trails. I've been imaging this for roughly 3 hours now, and I don't really feel like the image is getting better. If anything, I think it's getting worse as more planes and trails and satellites and things pass through the image. Although I don't actually know whether we can see satellites in it, but the star trails are getting longer, but it's almost like they're getting so long that they look a little artistically rendered or something, like less realistic the longer they get. So I think we're good to go ahead and finish touching up and editing this image to see what we can get for our final product. One of the things that I found really fascinating is every single image successfully stacked. Despite the fact that I didn't level the Seestar, I literally set it out on a tripod that was rested on top of a block wall. Thank you for hanging in there and watching this video for this long. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative and helpful. And I'm finally ready to reveal to you the finished product.